Okay, welcome back to the show, everybody. It's I Quit My Band. Thanks, everyone, for being here. My name is Nate.
JJ.
Evan.
I like just the not even on, just JJ. Evan.
Reporting for duty.
Yeah.
Your one-stop
Reporting
shop
for
for
duty.
election night coverage.
Yeah, it's election night in the United States.
Yep.
How we feeling? Did you guys vote today?
I voted.
Yeah, I also voted.
I did vote.
Yeah.
Voted for Johnny Cash.
Voted for Jill Stein.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I voted for Trent Reznor.
I voted for
Yeah.
the Rez.
Yeah.
Yep.
President Reznor.
President Rez.
Presner. Yeah, thanks everyone for being here. It's election night. By the time it comes out, it won't be election night anymore. We'll know who the president is, so we're not going to say anything.
This is actually going to be like a 4-day long podcast. We're going to live react to
we live streamed the downward spiral as if it was the election results.
Yeah, well, actually, fitting.
Yeah.
I mean, we're reviewing a classic album tonight that is kind of fitting for election night. It's the downward spiral.
Yes.
Which is what we're on.
The more I listen to it, the more I'm like, damn, I don't know if we stumbled into this, but this is like mega appropriate for the timeliness of what's going on.
Yeah, when we were
Subject
choosing a
matter-wise.
record, we were like, "What should we do this?" And I was just like, "I mean, it's right there.
Yeah.
The title, we got it."
Yep.
But yeah, thanks everyone for joining. Before we get into the album, you follow us on TikTok, Instagram. Subscribe to our channel on YouTube. Leave a comment. Tell us that we're great. Go watch our reviews that we just posted last week. Tyler the Creator, Chromacopia, and Better Lovers, Highly Irresponsible. Which, not the best
Yeah,
turnout.
not blockbusters, but hey,
Not blockbusters. But
I stand by that work.
it was good work.
it was good work
Honest
we did.
work.
It's an honest day's work we did that night.
An honest couple of hell yes that we gave out.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we got some subs and things from it, so thanks for subbing to the channel if you did after watching those. If you haven't watched them, go check them out. But tonight, we're going to review an album that we're going to, it's one for us.
Yeah.
We're not, this is a classic review of The Downward Spiral, the 9 Inch Nails album from 1994. Just one of the most depressing industrial albums I've ever heard in my life. I mean, it's kind of fitting, after the Chat Pile release. I feel like this is kind of, in the same lane. So if you're a Chat Pile fan, you probably like 9 Inch Nails a good bit. I know that's the case for me.
Yeah. And if you like 9 Inch Nails, you might like Chat Pile.
You
'cause
might
it's
like
probably-
Chat Pile.
That's probably a bigger cross-section
Yeah.
of people that have
Yeah.
heard
Yeah.
9 Inch Nails and not heard Chat Pile.
If you've heard Chat
Yeah.
Pile, you've probably heard of this smaller band,
Yeah,
9 Inch Nails.
Who?
It's kind of like, Jordy Gree, Motley Crue.
Yeah,
If
Yeah.
you know Motley Crue, you'll love Jordy Gree.
What's
We're
the
just trying to
connection there?
cross-pollinate, brother.
I don't remember what. Do we make a connection there?
We were just talking about how, we did those, kind of in the
Oh,
same week.
right.
We were just talking
Yeah.
about, converting Motley Crue fans into listening to Jordy Gree.
Yeah, they're one and the same.
They're same genre.
Yeah.
Same genre.
Yeah.
But yeah, what's everyone's fandom with 9 Inch Nails? I can go first.
Yes.
I love 9 Inch Nails, and even though I'm kind of I've kind of painted myself as this 9 Inch Nails head, kind of like I've been here since '94, but all of that is a lie, and I'll tell you that.
Terrible lie.
It's a terrible lie that I'm telling. I got into. I've always been aware of 9 Inch Nails, always but my reference for them was closer. Probably some ones that 9 Inch Nails fans really don't like The Hand That Feeds, stuff like that. The later stuff.
It's a sick song. Man.
It's a good song. The Day the World Went Away, stuff that was soundtracking Wanted.
Yeah, hell yeah.
That was my point of
The
reference.
hand that feeds, more like the man that pees.
The man does pee. He does.
Sorry.
That's all right. You're
going.
just trying stuff.
Just trying
Just
stuff.
riffing.
That's
But yeah, I started getting into like more Nine Inch Nails and like their deeper catalog probably like 2 or 3 years ago, and just really realizing that this is the music for me. You know, this is the stuff. It's got the industrial elements, like extremely distorted guitars, like almost just white noise ish. Trent, I think the thing that turned me off from Nine Inch Nails for so long was probably the lyrics, like the edgelord, like very dramatic lyrics, and even a song like Closer. It's like on the radio, but like, you know, I want to fuck you like an animal. That's a song when you're in the car with your mom. You're like, oh, let's
See what DV's got going on. Yeah.
Oh, AC/DC, you love this one. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, after like digging into Pretty Hate Machine and Downward Spiral and The Fragile, I mean, those are three. Maybe not Pretty Hate Machine as much, but like the Downward Spiral and Fragile are just two fucking perfect records. Huge fucking records, with themes, and how dark they get is just really like, I don't know. He really like has a way with making you feel how much in a hole he was during the recording process and the writing process. So I've gotten a new kind of appreciation for Nine Inch Nails. When we were in a band together, the band that I quit, we covered Wish, and it was
awesome.
Always the best song.
It's easily the
set.
highlight of every set.
Every set.
Just getting to say fist fuck was really fun.
The best.
All four of us on a mic just yelling fist fuck.
Yeah.
And there was whether we played it in West Virginia, whether we played it here, whether we played it in a basement, or at a club, there was always at least one guy that when we played Wish, we were the coolest band on earth.
Yeah. Always some 38-year-old guy who shouldn't have been at that show. Who snuck out for the night, you know. And he's just like, that was awesome.
Yeah, just you see this. Hell yeah.
I mean, we did play the shit out of that song.
We
too.
did, yeah.
It was a fucking sick cover.
It was great.
It was good.
You ask that guy, you're like, what other songs did you like? He's like, I Wish was the one.
If you would have played Wish for 40 minutes,
you should have just
I
kept
would have liked
playing
the whole
Wish.
set.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm a big Nine Inch Nails fan, as of, 3 years ago. How about you guys?
I'm the Nine Inch Nails newbie of the group, I think. So I'm providing the clean and untainted perspective on this because I had never listened to this album before.
Oh.
I'd listened to some other stuff. Obviously, I know Wish because I had to learn it. But I know more of Trent Reznor because of his influence on like other artists. Like listening to this album, I'm like, oh, Annie Clark picked up a lot of notes along the way from this guy.
Especially on that last one.
Yes. And I also am aware of him because he's one of the, like, I don't want to say few, but one of the seldom artists that, like, goes from being a band guy to, like, a fucking composer. A very learned and proper musician turned, like, total pro, you know, like
the guy that wanted to fuck you like an animal has 2 Oscars now.
Yeah, right, exactly. Like Hans Zimmer is going the opposite way. He's taking the stage with the guitar, whereas like, Trent Reznor's like, fuck that thing. I don't need it. I'm going to just make these scores or whatever.
He's a behind the scenes guy.
Yes. Yeah. And I think that's really cool. And I've always been interested in like noisy type shit, so I was looking forward to listening to this, and 90s music in general is a major blind spot for me, so that's kind of my background on NIN.
Yeah, I'm more of a recent convert as well. Like when I was growing up, I was such a guitar nerd that I could appreciate Closer and I could appreciate Head Like a Hole, but I was like, keyboards are lame.
Yeah.
But after playing guitar for 20 years, I'm like, synthesizers are actually sick.
Guitars are lame.
They do all the work for you.
So like I've grown more of an appreciation in like the past 5 years of his stuff, and I think part of it too is like the film score stuff.
Yeah.
Like I'm a huge David Fincher fan, and he does all of his scores now. So it made me kind of reappraise my perception of him. And going back and like hearing the soundscapes that he was able to make in like 1994, and when was Fragile? 96?
I think maybe
99.
99. even 99, like just insane. The
Yeah.
the level of texture and intensity and noise, and then also be able to, like, you even hear it on this record, like it'll go from these like almost unlistenable sections
Yeah.
to like these really pretty warm sort of like lush sections. So yeah, he's a guy that I probably with each passing year, and especially as like I tinker around myself with like synthesizers and that type of like drum machines and stuff like that, and like not even coming close to making them sound any
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
Like you just get a huge appreciation for like the like level of work and skill that it takes to make stuff that sounds like this.
Yeah, 100%. Like I like what I was doing like when my last couple months of like trying to do music and stuff, I was trying to just do Nine Inch Nails, and like I bought a synth. You know,
I was there with you when you bought it.
Yeah, and then you get home and you're just like, I can't even like copy this. I can't even play this riff.
Yeah.
I don't know how he did it. But yeah, he's a guy that I've grown so much more respect for, probably more than any other like figurehead in that era of rock than all of the others. Like, you know, it used to be back in the day when you're younger, it's like Dave Grohl, Josh Homme, Jack White, and then Trent Reznor was always like the goth weirdo cousin that doesn't come out of his room. And then now you're like, I actually want to hang out with that guy.
Yeah, well, and that was another thing, like thinking probably that kept me away from Nine Inch Nails is, you know, in high school, you gain perceptions of bands based on the guy who's wearing that shirt.
Yeah.
And like the dudes that would wear like the
Yeah.
Nine Inch Nails shirt would also wear like the Tool shirt.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I don't know if I want to dip my toe in that route.
And then the
That looks like a
Slipknot
scary
shirt, and
route.
you're like,
Yeah.
oh,
Ooh.
definitely not.
Yeah, but the AC/DC shirt guy.
Yeah, that
guy
guy's
can
cool.
drink some beers.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that guy's like also on like the soccer team.
Yeah.
You know, this guy, I don't even know his name.
Yeah, we don't know him. He covers his face. You know,
Yeah.
he's got chains on his pants.
Yeah.
exactly.
And that's scary.
That's-
And you grow up and you're like, you had the right idea, actually. No, you were right. Yeah, and we've talked about Trent before on the show, like first episode of this show.
Slam Bamboo. dude.
Slam Bamboo. It's all coming full circle.
Oh shit! I forgot about that.
Yeah, like
That's a callback.
from where he started, you know, in like these, and what he took influence from, like these 80s like pop bands, like, you know, what's the Go West or something like that. You know?
Yeah, like I would think like Depeche Mode.
Depeche Mode,
Yeah.
you
yeah.
know? And then like going, you know, obviously like that era of Bowie, like the Eno
Yes.
trilogy, and then like getting to know like that my buddy Jordan, who's into like
Yeah.
every type of music ever, like finding out about guys like Throbbing Gristle
Yes.
and Coil.
Yeah.
And being like, oh, this had to be a huge influence, and then like finding out Trent Reznor has worked with the guys from Coil like
Yeah,
multiple times
bunch,
and stuff
yeah.
like that. So it's like the melding of those two worlds, this like experimental, ugly, noisy type of like synth that was happening in the late '70s, with like the cold wave pop stuff, and you hear it on Pretty Hate Machine where he's like kind of figuring it out.
Yeah.
It still kind of sounds like Depeche Mode.
Pretty Hate Machine is like almost an embarrassing, like not embarrassing, but like maybe for him, he's probably like, I can't believe I was doing that stuff. Like,
Yeah, it's
it
like
feels
real skeletal.
Yes, yeah, very skeletal, very thin. The synths weren't quite there yet. I mean, there's some great songs on it, but I don't think his lyrics really developed like into being really cool until maybe Downward Spiral. Even that, I mean,
I
don't
don't
know,
know.
dude.
I don't know.
Bow down before the one you serve. You're going to get what you deserve. Is a pretty
it's a
sick
good.
line.
You're right about that. But yeah, I'm glad we're like giving Trent his due. You know, they haven't put out a new release in a long time. I think they did like a series of EPs.
Ghosts 5 and 6 or something like that.
Yeah.
Well, they did those like 3 EPs.
It was like the 3 EPs.
2020.
Yeah, Bad Witch I think was like
Yes.
2018 or something like that,
Yep.
and that might have been the last like release, like maybe that was like a new songs, you know, Nine Inch Nails project.
Shit Mirror is the first song
Yeah,
on that.
there's good EPs, dude. Shit Mirror is a good song.
Shit Mirror. That was the first dance at my wedding.
I love
by
Shit
Nine
Mirror.
Inch Nails.
Don't talk shit on Shit Mirror.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm glad we're diving in. What do you say we just get into
Let's
it?
go, dude.
It's I Quit My Band, and it's Nine Inch Nails. This is the first song, Mr. Self-Destruct. There's a little bit of a lead up here.
I think this sample is from THX.
Oh, is it really?
George Lucas's first movie. I think that's what I read.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's
just
wild.
some
The guy
weird,
getting his ass beat by
some
cops.
weird banging. Is that what it is? Getting his
It
ass
sounded
beat
like
by
a
cops?
gun to me.
Yeah, I always thought of it was like just banging on a door or something like that.
And then we're fucking
Yeah,
in.
we're
dude.
in.
In the machine.
We're in the Matrix. Dude.
Sounds like a machine gun going off.
Or like a printer.
Or a printer malfunctioning. Yeah. I mean, what were you going to say?
Oh, no, just like immediately, like if you listen to Pretty Hate Machine, like the sonic jump is so immediate.
Yeah.
You know, and I guess like that Broken kind of was the thing that bridged that gap, was
Yeah.
him like kind of figuring out how to be, like fill this sound out
Yeah.
a bit more, but just, fuck. I
I
love
mean-
that, like,
Yeah. I mean, it's another album where like right off the bat, there's so many like little things happening in the background that you don't even realize, like voices and just like little squeaks and moans and groans, that make it just so much more like interesting to listen to on your second listen and your third listen, which is what I love about it. I mean, it's a thing that like is on like, it's why like Songs for the Deaf is so great. You know, like there's always like little things you catch, but I feel like there's more on this album just because of the amount of noise he's putting into these. And
It's
just
very
like,
sharp sound.
very sharp.
Like blades going through
Yeah.
your ears. But then it gets like quiet, and it feels like he is like literally smashing his nose up against
Yeah.
the microphone to get those whispers out.
Yeah.
It's very odd, the dynamic.
Yeah, I really
That's it.
love how like little it seems like he cares about guitar tones and things like that. It's like
He's like, turn the metal zone all
yeah,
the
the
way
metal
up.
zone is cranked.
Yeah.
And he'll just put like a compressor or whatever over top
Yeah.
of it to make it fit this like disgusting, heinous sound that
Record it coming out of a phone speaker.
Yes.
yeah, I mean, they always sound like chainsaws. Every
Yeah.
song
Yeah.
is just like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like the Head Like a Hole guitars, like those sound like fucking buzzsaws.
yeah.
It's crazy.
They all come in like that. Yeah, I just love that. I love that he's not afraid to just put something in there that like may not even fit, but
Yeah.
he'll make it fit in some way.
Yeah, I think that's like, and you really on tracks going forward is like his ability to strike balance with everything that's happening in
Yeah.
these tracks,
Yeah.
and like trying to like locate where everything is. Like, okay, the rhythm is coming from this synth that is just
Yeah.
like here, and then there's like this weird banging over here, and then these thick bassy synths and these high piercing synths,
Yeah.
and then still be able to hear the guitar. It's like, yeah, I think I read it took him 18 months working on this.
Makes
Really?
sense.
Yeah, like he did this and Marilyn Manson's first record at the same time.
Yeah, it was in the Sharon Tate murder house, which
Yeah.
I didn't know
Wow.
until recently. I read a little bit about it today.
I mean, that also might explain why this is one of the
How-
most depressing.
How
Yeah.
dark it is. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe that the environment had a bit of an influence.
Yeah, for sure. I think he recorded Broken there and then recorded this
Yeah,
there
you're
as
right.
well. Yeah. But yeah, he does like we'll just move on. I don't want to like talk about it in the middle of the song. Here's the next song, Piggy, which is such a change of pace from Mr. Self-Destruct.
An insane departure.
For this song being the second song on the record, I always was curious as to why it takes like this kind of nosedive into this like jazz club like Piggy Piggy.
And that may also be a reference to the Tate murders because Manson's famously
Yeah.
wrote "pig" on the front door.
Yeah.
And there's
Oh.
two instances of pig. I don't know if it 100% does, but it seems like
I read about it today. I think he named the studio that he built after the pig on the door. I think it was called like Le Pig or something like that. Was
Okay.
what he named
Whoa.
the studio. But yeah, there's a lot of references to pigs on this record.
Could be a
And,
troll job though, like the change in pace. He's like, "Oh, you want more of that? All right, well,
Yeah,
deal,
maybe.
deal with this first."
Yeah, deal with this little jazzy number. First.
Yeah.
I never, when I was like getting into this record, like trying to just be like, okay, it's such a well-regarded record, you know, listen to it front to back. This was always a big like hurdle for me. I was like, I don't know if I love Piggy, but since us like preparing to do this review, it's It's a really cool song. It's like one of the most different on the whole record.
Yeah, I like that it kind of lulls you
Yeah.
into this vibe, and then the drum stuff that starts happening later. It feels like almost so disconnected. It feels like the original song is being attacked by drums.
Yeah.
You know, like, and he's still just kind of whispering, you know?
Yeah, it's almost annoying. You're just like, what the fuck is happening?
Yeah.
Like, can we just get a drum beat? But yeah, I mean, it starts getting just really noisy and weird, like right here.
Yeah, and his vocal never leaves this.
Yeah.
So, like, everything getting chaotic around
Yeah.
it, so it's just like, and you're still just hearing this guy, like, kind of whisper. It just adds this
Yeah.
tension.
A crazy amount of restraint to be able to do that when a song gets so like
Yeah.
voluminous
Yeah.
around it.
Here comes these drums. They just do not stop.
No.
They do not stop.
And they're like glitched out too. It's
Yeah.
very odd. I don't know how, like, it's kind of my thoughts towards the whole thing, but I don't know how a guy fucking does this in probably like 1993.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, there were computers, but it's not like he can just pop into Logic and be like, "Yay, fuck that up a little bit."
Yeah.
He's like analog, basically
Oh, yeah.
fucking this up. you
Apparently,
know?
he did make this album with Pro Tools.
It was like
Oh,
the
did he?
first
The
thing
first-
ever made
Yeah.
in Pro Tools.
yeah.
Wow.
And he was really fucking around in Pro Tools.
Oh, I'm sure
He
he was
probably
doing it.
just like a gold mine. He's probably like, this is amazing.
There's a sound in here that sounds like "Goodbye Horses." That
Oh, yeah.
song from
Yeah.
from Silence of the
Silence of the
Lambs.
Lambs,
yeah.
Yeah, you know Trent was all about Goodbye Horses.
Yeah.
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 One wrong turn in his life, it feels like Trent could have been James Gumb.
Or she a big, great
Yeah.
big fat woman.
Dude, if he didn't find the synth, he'd have
Yeah.
a pit in his basement.
Yeah.
Put the lotion in the basket.
What was the Joe Dirt version of him? Buffalo Bob.
Oh yeah.
That's a great one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was just gonna say I love these little like melodic little just depressing.
That's the part that sounds
Yeah.
like "Goodbye Horses."
Yeah, there's like vignettes throughout the whole album. I want to say it's on another song, but it's definitely on Closer. And
Definitely
then
the end of Closer.
The end of Closer, and then it shows up later somewhere. Sorry, this is Heresy.
Love this song.
This-
Now we're heading into the Matrix.
Yes.
I would listen to a whole album that just sounded like this.
Yes.
That synth and that like
yeah. Put
Hot
on some
take.
shades.
I think this is the best song on the record.
Wow.
I wouldn't disagree.
Like structurally and like radio ready, like this is such a banger.
Yeah, and I love how like 80s this part is.
Yeah.
And then the part that like immediately follows.
Yeah.
And then it has like that like real like triumphant sounding like
Yeah.
Yeah. You might get me on that.
Yeah. I mean, if you don't love Reznor's lyrics and vocals,
This
like,
is one of
it's-
the most
this is
edgelord.
Yeah. I mean, the choruses, but the verse, like, he's got that, like, high-pitched, like, Marilyn Manson type
Yeah.
of vocal going on. But, yeah, it's so techno-y, and then after this chorus,
Yeah, dude.
you get this, like, Tom Petty guitar riff.
Dude,
You might be onto something there.
Yeah, it's just, I remember wanting to bust this out to you guys and be like, we're also going to cover Heresy. Then I was like, I don't know how we would do
This
it.
is one of the more rockin' ones.
Yeah, this is. I don't know how this isn't like. I feel like in the grand scheme of this album, this song isn't talked about as much.
Yeah, because this I don't know. Maybe it's because it doesn't feel as like future forward as
Yeah.
maybe some of the other stuff.
Yeah,
Like this doesn't. There's stuff on this album that feels like if you would have heard it in 1994, it's like completely unplaced in time.
yeah,
Like this just dropped out of the sky.
yeah,
But this kind of does have like a 70s and 80s kind
Yeah.
of influence, so maybe that is.
It's got.
And
the
he is
dance.
also screaming, "God is
Yeah.
dead."
Yeah.
So that might
Yeah.
also be.
Well, Piggy was, I think, a single. I think March of the Pigs and Piggy were both single and Closer. I mean, the singles that they were able to put out for this record.
I mean, the fact that Closer is a smash hit, still on like heavy rotation
Yeah.
in
Yeah.
alternative stations, is
I
unbelievable.
always remember hearing it on the radio as a kid, and I was like, how?
Yeah.
What? Like, even as a kid, you're like, this is not like anything else I've ever heard.
Yeah, like I couldn't believe adults were listening to
Yeah.
this.
Yeah.
But this breakdown's fucking cool.
Yeah, very cool. What was I gonna say? Yeah, I was. He does it a little bit here, but like you can kind of hear it, like verse versus the chorus, like how different he will make them, and then every time you come back to a chorus or a verse, there's always an additional instrument that is just ramping shit up to the max, like just driving the tension a little bit more. Like that Tom Petty guitar riff is not on the first verse, and then once you get out of that second chorus, it's there, and it feels like you're about to explode for some reason.
Yeah.
And now we are exploding.
We are
Because
exploding.
this is just like...
We're in Operation
Sounds
Explosion.
crazy.
Yeah.
It's like you're kicked like a fatback computer monitor down the stairs.
Yes.
It's hooked up to the modem.
Yeah.
Or whatever.
And it's pissed at you.
It's
It's
pissed.
Like, why the fuck did you do
It's
that?
and you're still trying to get onto like dial up
Yeah.
or whatever.
God is dead. Yeah. This
Yeah.
is like, there is a lot of dial-up sounds.
A lot of static.
There's a lot of dial-up sounds, which
Yeah.
I like.
I mean, it's 94, bro.
It's 94.
They didn't have a cable mode.
The area of
No
dial-up.
Wi-Fi.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's move on. March of the Pigs.
Crazy drum beat going on.
As a drummer, JH,
Yes.
tell me what's going on here.
That's hard to keep up, but
I've never known.
it might be a loop, honestly. I could see it being
I think
that.
it's a drum machine.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it's just a guy. It's probably like two hands on the hi-hat. I don't think you can move your right hand that fast.
It's like 4/4, and then it switches like I don't know. Like I've seen.
I think it's just ending the phrase on the toms instead
Yeah.
of the hi-hat.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it gets off beat a little bit too.
Anything. Anything's 4/4 if you like do the
Yeah.
math. But
Yeah, dude.
no, but like I think it might be an odd time signature or something.
Yeah.
At times, like 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3,
Yeah.
4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
I mean, the BPM's got to be like 270.
yeah,
Yeah.
Insanely
it's fast.
fast.
It's very fast.
And I love like that first bass that comes in.
Yeah.
Sounds like the default bass.
Yeah.
Like they haven't like fucked with it at all.
Yeah.
It's just like burr, burr,
Yeah.
burr, 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 burr.
Yeah.
spaciously recorded drums always tickle me, and I always enjoy that.
Yeah, I've seen plenty of Nine Inch Nails drummers pull it off live,
Yeah.
and it always just looks like they don't even know what they're just like.
And then this part,
It's so cool.
Yeah, that piano.
quiet for a long time.
Oh god.
Yeah.
No counting. You don't need it.
Yeah, just the two worlds that he's putting on this song, just this fucking nasty, chaotic thing, and then putting like this classical piano. Because he's a I mean, I think he got his start playing piano.
I think that's what
Crazy.
I read too.
He's a
Like,
piano guy.
How do you get here?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, just like, how do you think to mend those worlds, like mend all this shit together in this song? Of
I
all
think he
songs?
like probably plugged his Moog into like a fucking like Marshall
busted
stack
amp.
one day
Yeah.
and was like, I'm done.
That's
this is
sick.
it. My entire
That is
life.
sick.
Yeah.
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 But then it just calms down completely.
Yeah, and like he still understands like dance grooves.
Yes.
And like the way to keep those energies
Yeah.
going and like, you know, switch to like a more like pulsing synth
Yeah.
and stuff like
Yes.
like he clearly has like a very good understanding of just like
Yeah.
conventional pop music and conventional rock music, at which he can also just turn on its head at any point. Like, this is so cool.
Yeah. How do you end like
That's so
it's wild?
silly.
And just this last piano chord.
Yeah, like real
It's like
jazz.
what is
jazz.
that?
Fuck. Yeah. You expect just like a
Put the fedora
yeah,
on.
yeah, milady.
Ladies. Literally. Let's move on.
I mean,
This drum machine, the sound is perfection.
yeah, because it sounds like an EKG.
It sounds
you
like
know?
someone being punched in the face. Like, it's just so fucking thumpy.
I always think of like somebody's like heart rate on like a machine.
Yeah, I
Oh,
think that's
yeah.
what they're going. I think in the music video, I think
you're
that's-
right,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
That makes
And then,
sense.
but this bass line, immediately iconic.
So good. Oh, man. It's so funny how much I love this song now versus when I was a teenager. I was like, that is the worst thing I've ever heard in my life.
I could see how you could think that. though.
Dude, I was.
I want to fuck you like an animal.
Yeah, like, what?
Ew.
And imagine like they just got done playing Plush
Yeah.
on the
Yeah.
X, and then this comes on. I'm like, damn, dude.
Yeah,
no.
come on.
I can't sing this in my car with my
With my-
dad.
yeah. Yeah, singing this.
I wanna desecrate you.
You and your dad just like, fuck me! Yeah, Dad.
Yeah,
Yeah, dude.
sing it.
I wanna fuck you like an animal.
Yeah, Dad.
And this turnaround's so
I know.
good too, with like the different bass line and the
Yeah.
off.
Different bass line, different drums. Like it's like completely synthetic for a little bit, and then
Well, it goes,
it goes
from, like,
into a band.
analog to digital,
Yeah.
and then back and forth again. I
Yeah.
mean, that's kind of a trick he busts out like all the time.
He does it a lot.
And then
on
this
record.
turnaround is
Yeah.
so great with this just like
This is
constant.
That's what I was saying before with Heresy, where it's like you come out of the chorus, you get a new little thing on the next verse.
Yeah,
That pushes the envelope, and then
that's a new flav.
I think this song, more than any other on the record, like it does it the most and it does it the best because it almost the song ends being like a completely different track.
Nine Inch
almost.
Nails songs to me are like Follow Me, or like eating a 10-piece nugget, right? You can have a nugget by itself, and like the first two are like really good,
Yeah.
and then you acquire a few sauces with it: ketchup, barbecue sauce, honey mustard, whatever. Then you dip and you're like, ooh, that's good with that sauce. And then you add more sauce until you got a totally sauced up nug. You know what I'm saying? By the end of a song, you're fully coated in sauce.
Yeah. That's the fattest way I've ever heard.
I ate a really light.
I've ever heard a song. be
I ate a
described,
really
and
light
I love,
dinner.
I love that.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
love it.
You're completely
Yeah.
sauced up, dude. I love that.
Like
Covered in
if you
sauce.
were like
Cover
400
me in
pounds,
ranch.
that would be the funniest thing ever said.
I did get weighed when I went to urgent care, and it said I weighed 200 pounds, which is crazy because
that's light,
I
dude.
went to the I went to the doctor like 3 weeks before that because I had pneumonia, and I weighed 182 pounds.
Wow.
So between two doctors' offices, I gained 20 pounds.
Rough couple weeks.
Definitely
sauced
did.
up nugs, dude.
It says nugs while listening to Closer.
Yeah.
That's what
Yeah.
your doctor says. Like, you have to lay off the sauced up nugs. You must.
Yeah, pretty much.
Just eating just to the beat of the song.
But like after hearing the single version of this song for so long, I do like just like the 3-minute
Yeah, that's what I
techno
was just
jam.
gonna say. It
you
just
know?
turns into a completely different thing. It ends with that like beautiful like melody that is kind of like I'm pretty sure it shows up in another song on this record.
I feel like it does as well. I can't.
I was
completely
trying
place
to
it. I
find
know like
what
the
it was.
hurt melody shows up.
Yeah,
on,
the hurt
Um,
at the end of Hurt, like the down, like that kind of feels like it's a continuation of just this last part that shows up here. Like
Well, and once again, and this sounds like a diss, and it's not. But this, I mean, St. Vincent's latest album stole all of its, not stole, but got all of her tricks from this album.
borrowed a good bit of swag,
And
from
that's
that boy.
fine.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
she did it well.
Yeah,
Yeah,
she did
if she did it bad, that would be stupid. But it all makes sense now where Annie Clark got all of her
yeah.
shit for All Born Screaming.
Did you know that? Wait, sorry, what were you gonna say?
I'm just like this part almost feels like a flex where he's like, not only am I gonna make the weirdest pop song anybody could ever hear for the first 3 minutes, but then I'm also going to make like 3 minutes of like the hardest dance jam.
Yes.
Yeah,
And then end it on like this iconic little melody.
Yeah, I love that melody. That down, down.
The way it like
kinda-
starts coming in towards
Yeah.
the end.
yeah.
Did you guys know that Reznor and his like the guy that's like in Nine Inch Nails, but I don't think he started off in Nine Inch Nails. Atticus Ross, he does all the
The
film scores with him. That they produced the last Halsey record, not this one that like
What?
not the one that like
Not
just
the
came
disaster.
out, not the disaster that just came out, but it was like a couple years ago. I
No, I
want to say
didn't
like
know that.
2020.
That's pretty crazy.
I want to check it out just because I mean, probably there's some bangers on there.
At least some cool sounds.
There's some cool sounds. I'm not a Halsey fan, but
What?
You
You're
don't-
not in on Halsey?
I'm not in on Halsey.
Oh.
I don't know if I could name one Halsey song.
No, I know what she
Yeah, that's
sounds
right.
like, though. Yeah,
I
that's
love
sick.
that so much.
That's
Yeah.
nice.
Yeah, don't talk to Anthony Fantano about Halsey.
Oh, my God.
dude,
right?
he got some shit for that.
Got destroyed. Yeah, I mean, I think he would shit on her records like every time one of them would come out. I don't know what he gave the Nine Inch Nails one. I'm not even sure if he reviewed it, but he thought he was going to be real funny with that 1 out of 10. And people were like, no.
I mean, that was so polarizing what he did with that. One of my coworkers was like, you ever heard of that Anthony Fantano guy? Did you hear what the fuck he said about Halsey?
Yeah, it was less the score and what he said, which is kind of wild.
Yeah. He said that she had the worst case of main character disorder.
Yeah.
Main character syndrome. And she was like talking about her own cancer diagnosis.
Yeah, she had like cancer diagnosis. Like it was some horrible things happening.
Has he issued his apology yet?
I don't think so.
He's
like
going to.
Yeah.
His PR team's probably screaming at
You
him.
think there's an apology tour coming soon for
Yeah,
him? I feel like he never apologizes for anything.
No, he just moves on, brother.
He just doubles down. Yeah. I can respect. It's like that.
You hear what we're singing
If
before
Trent Reznor said anything to us about our review, we're like, we're so sorry, dude.
We will take it down.
We'll do it. I'll leave this house.
I'm
selling
sorry.
the house.
I mean, I don't know. That Jordy Greep, the when we talked about the single and got the whole thing completely wrong, and we got shit on for like 2 weeks straight.
Yeah, there was,
Yeah, it
no,
was
there was
awesome.
no
I was like,
apology
I
to
will
it.
not take it down.
No.
Cause I won't back down.
All right, beautiful. Let's move on. This is Ruiner. Another underrated cut.
I'd agree.
Yeah, like you never hear about this song. It's got a awesome fucking hook.
Got like a monkey sound going on in the background.
Whatever that is.
Whatever that
A
is.
screeching door.
Yeah.
Yeah. Another just like great upbeat like dark pop song that has I love this hook.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's another one that I think the stuff that gets the most player that is the stuff that feels. I love this part.
It's so sick.
Yeah, I love the groove here. It has more of like that drum and bass type feel.
Yeah.
Of like the drums. Yeah, I just feel like the stuff that rises to the top is the stuff that sounded like this kind of feels like 80s.
Yeah.
More 80s inspired.
Yeah, a little
And
bit.
I love this. Those like huge pads, dude.
It's
Sounds like
crazy.
Sounds like a video game.
Yes, sounds
Almost.
so theatrical.
Yeah.
And like that's the stuff that I like more off the album. Is maybe like you've heard Closer, you've heard Hurt so many times, but like the stuff that still kind of has that 80s vibe,
Yeah.
I love even more.
Awesome. Yeah. Like this sounds like just it almost sounds a little bit cheap sounding.
Yeah.
And that's what I love about it, I think. Just those like horns that are just being played with a keyboard, obviously. And like it was made in '94, so it's like they're always gonna sound like keyboards, you know? But yeah, it's just like it really ramps things up and makes it like this larger than life kind of chorus. But I love again on this song like how he did on Closer, where it's just like it's like listen how clean this sounds.
He's adding sauce to the nugget, dude.
Well, he's adding sauce to the nugget. I feel like he's going from nugget to chicken
To
tender
burger.
Yeah.
to burger a little bit. He's evolving he's changing the nugget.
Oh yeah.
He got an order of fries.
You got
Well, because there's that part in the song later where it sounds like you recorded Hendrix on like a cell phone.
Yeah.
You know what
Yeah.
I mean? Like he is completely unafraid to
Yeah.
take you to just completely somewhere where you would have never expected.
Yeah.
I said this during our Tyler the Creator review last week, but what separates us, who we've made music before, some of us still actively are, what separates us from like these geniuses, or whatever you want to call them, is like who to thunk to do shit like that, you know?
Yeah, I mean, I think there's like, you know, when you are allotted time to kind of
Yeah.
have an idea and go, wouldn't that be cool? And then actually like
That's true.
go and do it versus like being like, that would be cool, but it's gonna
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to set up
that's
that
gonna be
mic.
a lot of work.
Yeah, well, I think it's that mix of like vision and drive.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like
exactly.
like I'm sure there's a lot of artists that have their masterpiece that's been
Yeah.
kicking around in their head forever, but
Yeah.
like it takes that like sustained effort of
Yeah.
slamming your head against a wall, like
18 months.
18 months, but that's after like probably 15 years
Yes,
of
yes.
fucking around
Of
with
thinking about it.
synthesizers and
Yeah.
even figuring out how to make these things sound the way you want to.
Yeah.
But I don't know how you like decide where like this is
Is this the
Awesome.
the Becoming? No,
This is still Ruiner.
yeah. and then it goes back into it.
Yeah. Let's move on. This is The Becoming.
Like a squeaker toy going on.
Yeah. This isn't one of my favorites, but I still think it's a nice addition to the record.
Yeah, I'd agree. I like a lot of the things happening in it.
Yeah.
I like it almost has like I feel like it feels contemporary in a way because you hear that like trap piano type stuff on so many things.
Yeah, it does sound like a rapper could just take that.
Yeah.
Like, sorry, fuck. Yeah, does that not sound like it just be like, yo?
Yeah.
Like,
Well, it sounds like humble almost.
Yeah,
Down,
it could.
down,
Yeah.
down,
Yeah.
down, 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 down. Yeah.
But I love the synth that comes in like immediately after this next one right here.
Yeah,
Yeah.
just that like the laser
Yeah.
shit.
Mixed with that bass sound.
Yeah.
And like when he hits the snare, it has that like static noise that's coming on.
Yeah.
It. Not to mention it's soundtracked by what sounds like the gates of hell opening up, and you just hear
Yeah.
1,000 people
Yeah.
screaming.
Yeah, it's wild. I
Yeah.
mean, I just love how thumpy it is, and what's the? I'm misremembering what the chorus is on this song. There's a good hook on this one, if I remember right.
I can't. I'm trying to think.
Or maybe I'm just thinking it's another song. I can't remember.
Yeah, more what I like about it is like how it keeps building. Like,
Yeah.
like there's all these like real mechanical percussion
Yeah.
elements. Like one sounds like a shaker, but it's like metal, and then there's just like a hammer. It sounds like hitting like an anvil.
It's like a very, very industrial song.
Yeah, he's not trying. Like this one feels like he's not trying to write a pop song in any
No,
way.
he's like recording a construction site.
Yeah.
That people are also dying at.
Yeah.
Or something.
But then it like switches over to like the acoustic guitar, which is interesting as well because
Yeah.
it seems like
Forgot about that.
he. What I find interesting about this album and a lot of his stuff is like he's able to blend like those synthetic and organic worlds
Yeah.
in a way where it's like it doesn't feel like you're like the Terminator, but like you're like Videodrome, some sort of like mix of machine and man.
Yeah. Cyborg.
Yeah, 100% side.
I am a cyborg.
I am the cyborg.
I'm covered in vomit.
Yeah.
No
Is this-
Hantayomi discussion.
This
will be
album
had
is full
on
haunting.
this-
This is
For
on
sure.
time.
This is where Trent Reznor got it
This is a
from.
predecessor.
He's like, actually, I went forward in time, found out about King Giz and the Lizard Wizard.
How cool they are.
That's where I
Yeah.
took all my silver cord, changed my life.
Is this the acoustic guitar? I can't.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, this like nice ass melody that comes in at the
Yeah.
end and just like listen to how just
kind of Beatlesy.
yeah, a little Beatlesy, just folksy.
Yeah.
Yeah, it just shows like what a wide range of influences he's pulling from.
And
here.
then right back into
Yeah.
just an
I
ATM
wish-
machine trying to kill me.
I wish a rapper would fucking use this. Imagine how sick a rapper
I would let an
Fucking-
ATM machine kill me.
Oh, yeah.
Dude, fuck me up, dude.
Yeah, whatever.
just sprouting arms, just
If I can keep
I just
the
imagine
money,
like running out of the bank and looking
Yeah.
behind me, just like
and then just like every other thing in the bank
maximum
Yeah.
overdrive style.
also
dude.
Yeah.
becomes alive. Yeah, a phone,
getting penetrated by coins.
coins.
dude.
Yeah.
Yeah,
just like right through your forehead.
yeah. Nope
Yeah.
style.
It's like this is what should have soundtracked Maximum Overdrive,
Yeah.
but Stephen King just chose AC/DC songs instead.
Well, do you?
Big
do you,
fuck up.
I mean, come on. You know, look at Stephen King.
But yeah, dude, he
He's
just
a
loves
dad.
metal,
Yeah. Rock.
and that just like heavy ass like gent guitar.
God damn.
It's crazy.
You want to move on?
Yeah,
Here's I Do Not Want This.
this would probably be up there on songs that I don't love on the. On
Yeah, I
the
don't
record.
love this one either, but I love this drum pattern.
Me
And
too.
I like the way the drums sound a lot. Like they're just like so gated and like cut off. Like it just so fucking tight.
Oh, it sounds like he had like a drummer just like go, and then he just chose like this small part of
Yeah.
it, gated the fuck out of it,
Yeah.
and looped it. Or
I
something.
really like how these sound. But yeah, in terms of like what I need from this album, I don't need this one, you know?
No, but I do like the "You Don't Tell Me How I Feel" part.
Yeah.
where, like the guitar comes in, and like you said, I do like that it does remain so repetitive.
Yeah.
With that drum beat, because like the guitars fit over it like perfectly, and then it can drop back out into this like eerie.
I mean,
kinda stuff.
the whole song is pretty repetitive.
There's a lot of songs on this album that could be classified as like ambience in terms of like you could be watching a main character do something in a movie to this song.
Yes.
Yeah, which makes sense why he scores stuff now.
Yeah.
But like if you take vocals out of some of these songs, like the ambience of it could easily be like me hacking into the mainframe in like a a thriller movie or something.
And I think there is a reading of this as like a concept album with a story that I've heard people talk about.
Yeah, I think there is something. It's kind of like ridiculous though. It's like a guy trying
like Mr. Self-Destruct is like the main character, and you're watching
Sounds
his
so
like
stupid.
it seems like people really trying to literalize like this feeling of like,
yes, it's Mr. Self-Destruct, actually.
Yeah, like I'm not gonna like any story
Trent,
where the main character's Mr.
Mr. Self-Destruct. I mean, it was the 90s, dude. You pull out Mr. Self-Destruct to a 90s crowd, they're like, that's awesome.
Deep and sick.
That is very deep. But yeah, this song does another really good job of like just going from clean and like calm to just as soon as he goes into that "you don't tell me how I feel" part, his voice is distorted. He sounds like he's trying to sounds like a guy trying to break through like white noise on a TV.
He's in a walkie-talkie universe.
It's like a split personality type of thing. Like it's like you have the calm version, like who's just like saying, "I do not want this," and then you get the
the mind of Mencia.
It's a twisted mind scenario.
Yeah.
And there's still a lot of like stuff going on.
There's a lot of cool sounds. It just goes on for a very long time.
Forever.
Yeah, because like he opens up the gate on the drums at one point, and they get like louder, and they feel more live.
Distorted
it's right
as fuck.
here. Maybe
might have already happened.
Might have already.
Yeah, because this is like where we started.
Let's move on. Here's Big Man with a Gun. This is like the punkiest one on the record, but I like this one. It's so familiar at this point with everything he's been doing. Like it just sounds like he was going to write a punk song, and it just ended up sounding like a sped up version of something we already heard.
Yeah, I've heard he doesn't like this song. Like I think like it was really controversial when it came out, like one of those like PMRC or one of those groups.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I guess he wrote it as kind of like mocking gangster rap. Like,
really?
You guys like talk about guns and all that kind of stuff.
I didn't know.
So
I didn't think it was
I think
that.
like he didn't quite have his finger on the pulse
He
of
didn't know
that
what he
one.
was talking
Yeah,
about.
exactly. Yeah, I mean it's not bad. But it doesn't do anything like too remarkable on the record.
Yeah. Reminds me a lot of Starfuckers Incorporated off of The Fragile. But yeah, I mean it's not bad. Like I guess he's just flexing his punk,
While also saying he's
his
gonna
punk
come
balls.
all over you.
Yeah. But yeah, I don't like the lyrics that start off the song. I'm gonna be gone.
Yeah.
Like it's just like the melody. Every melody is that. On
Well,
this
and then
record.
he just says "me and my fucking gun" over and over.
Yeah. Let's move on. I don't have much more to add.
Yeah, I mean, it's a 90-second song.
Yeah.
Here's A Warm Place, like the interlude instrumental off the record. I mean, there's a couple others, but I like this a lot. Like it feels very like soft and sweet and like out of place on a record like this, but somehow not, like it just feels like this moment of like solace before a kind of brutal next couple songs to the end. But yeah, it's so like lush and like, I don't know, it's out of nowhere, I guess.
Yeah, I'd agree. I think it's also kind of like, it's like a foreshadow of the stuff that he would make as like a film composer.
Yeah.
Much
like
more
that.
atmospheric.
Like this could be in like the Gone Girl soundtrack.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Which he did.
Affleck just
Yeah.
looking perturbed
Yes.
for
He's
hours.
like, oh, my life is
Who the
fucked,
fuck did
man."
I marry?
Oh my god.
Yeah, no, I like it as well. It's like like you said, it feels out of place at times, but it's like it's undeniably pretty, really
it's
well
very
done.
pretty.
And like that is the cool thing about synth is like, you know, it can be these very ambient, soft,
Yeah.
airy types of things, and then it can also produce a sound that
Yeah.
like you're like, God.
Yeah.
So like, you know, being able to flex your muscle and be like, I can do both. you know?
Yeah.
It's a breather, you know.
Definitely
and
a breather.
Since I'm listening to this all pretty much for the first time, the album in order, that I made the ambience comment because there is stuff like this, like where either there's no vocal or it's like very sparse or low in the mix. It's just like this is just like a montage background music. Not that it's bad or anything, but it's like a fucking vibe,
Yeah.
you know.
I like how it switches too from the like the melody that's happening at the beginning of the song, and then like that kind of like swirl that comes in the middle, and then it gets sadder somehow.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
like, how did we get even sadder
Yeah.
and prettier? You know? Yeah. I don't know. I've tried to rip this off so many times unsuccessfully.
Yeah, I mean
Happens.
that's the thing with ambient music, because like I've messed around with some ambient
Yeah.
music. You hear it for the first time, you're like, this is the easiest shit.
Yeah,
of
you're
all
like, I
time.
can
You
do
just
that.
pick a nice chord,
Yeah.
move it to another nice chord,
Yeah.
and then like you try it. Like if the timing's off even a little bit,
Yeah.
because like you're working with like super delayed guitars here, and then you're also working with synths with like the attack turned way down. So like to get them in time is a
Yeah.
giant pain in the
Crazy.
ass.
Yeah. Just the patience it takes to make this, like, would take days for someone who is not as skilled or as
A layman
talented. A
like
layman.
us.
Yes,
Yes.
exactly.
And you can still hear his ear for melody in that
Yeah.
like little like pluck thing,
Yeah.
you know. It'd be really easy to make it be just boring, and
Yeah,
it's
still
not.
it's not boring. Yeah, that's a good way to put it. Let's move on. Here's Eraser. Starts off with like someone blowing through a straw.
Yeah, what was that?
I don't know. I always just thought of it as a guy just like with maybe a McDonald's cup.
I
after he got his-
was
his
thinking maybe
nuggets.
some McDonald's
After you
Sprite.
just got nugged
After-
up. Gotta get
He's
nugged up.
fully sauced up.
It's fully
Yeah.
nugged.
fully sauced to fully nugged is funny. Yeah, we're still not even
God,
hasn't even
a
started.
little
yet.
ASMR action.
Yeah,
But this drum groove is so sick.
drums are so sick on this one.
Recorded in like a garage.
Yeah, then you got these creepy fucking like.
Yeah, it
What
feels
is
like
that?
somebody's like face melting.
Yeah,
or
it feels like
something.
a painting that is melting, like in a horror movie.
Yeah, it's like it's a groove that like you can kind of nod your head to, but that weird like consistent like dun dun
Yeah.
dun dun.
How
it, like
thumpy
adds like
these
an ominous.
These drums, like we were talking about chat pile before, like these drums sound so much like the chat pile electronic
Oh,
kit,
yeah.
like for sure. Like you know, they took such an influence from albums like this probably
For
to
sure.
make their drums sound tight and almost like robotic a little bit.
Yeah, but there's still like this element of performance to it that you feel more than
Yeah.
like certain other
Yeah.
like drum machines.
Yeah, I would say that too. Yeah, I mean this song just kind of it's another one where it just kind of keeps building, you know, like just more creepy sounds
More
come
sauce.
and just kind of
That weird like detuned.
yeah.
Yeah, it's one I find that this one is the one that I needed to be the most patient on because
Yeah.
of how like slow this starts out, but some of the places it takes you are like really cool.
Yeah, I think it's one of the best pieces on the record. Like song it's not really much of a, you know, a headbanger or a song. It's just like we're halfway through the song right now and I feel like it hasn't been boring once. And
Yeah.
we don't even have vocals, anything. It's just how many things we can put on top of this drum beat to kind of drive it home.
You're
Like
stacking ingredients on a sandwich.
you keep saucing it up.
Keep
Yeah, dude.
saucing the nut.
You're nugged.
You keep finding surface area
Yeah.
that you didn't know was
You
there.
found an
yeah.
onion ring
Yeah.
in your fries.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, I mean it does get to a point where he's screaming "kill me."
Yeah, he starts
So
at
it
the
do-
end of the song.
it does get to like a point where it is kicking some ass.
Yeah.
But it is like really easing you in.
Kicking some ass.
You
Yeah. Kill me. Murder me.
You get eased into some ass
Yeah,
kicking,
yeah.
as opposed to just being straight up kicked.
Yeah, this ain't no man with a big man gun,
No.
situation.
This
Big
is-
gun guy.
this is euthanasia.
This is that pod that you paid to kill you,
Yeah.
and then by the end, the guy who made it realized
Yeah,
it doesn't
just
work, so he has to open it up and strangle you.
It worked. Everyone, it's good.
Success.
We
we
should go
talk-
home.
Did we talk about that last time or something?
We talked about it before we recorded.
Yeah, I don't think we
Oh,
talked about it on the show. But
One of the most insane
it's
stories.
such a
Oh,
crazy
my
thing.
God.
Yeah, and
But
then
yeah, and then it goes to this
completely
really
changes,
sparse.
like last minute the song. Do you want to move on?
Sure.
This is one of my favorites on the record.
Reptile.
Reptile. Yeah, this song is just so like heavy and brutal and like thick and just like it takes up so much space and it's long. It just feels like an absolute epic. Like the title Reptile, it sounds like there's an alligator that was let loose in your house and is just moving slow
Yeah.
towards you in the kitchen until you're just like I'm going to get eaten.
It feels
I'm
like you're
fine.
on in a car chase in a Transformers movie.
Yeah, something
With
like that.
Sound that
Yeah.
sounds like you're booting up.
Yeah.
Or like one of the later, shittier Terminator movies where
Yeah.
like all the T-1000s are like
Yeah,
marching together.
Yeah. Like the tempo of this is like really what makes it for me. Like just that like listen how low that fucking bass is just like
Yeah, and then when the guitar comes in
Yeah.
to like match that chug,
Yeah.
it feels like if Sleep was to
go
into
in-
keyboards
was to
instead.
go industrial.
Yeah, put down the bongs
Yeah.
and picked up a Korg every
Yeah.
once in a while.
Maybe you should put away that bong.
Yeah,
Fuck me.
yeah, this is one of my favorites as well. Just pure tension. It's
Yeah.
just an exercise in just like how tight can we get that
Yeah.
rubber band
Yes.
wider and wider.
I love his vocal performance on this one too. Like it's not covered in distortion and he's
That's one thing that I wanted to talk about is how dry so many of the vocals are
I
in
was
this
just gonna
record.
say that.
Yeah.
Dry as fuck.
Like he's right here.
Yeah.
You know.
And somehow it's intelligible in the song. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like for most of us laymen's, when you need your vocals to stick out and you don't know how to EQ it properly,
Yeah.
like I don't, just distort that
Yeah.
puppy, put a little delay on
Distort.
there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Make it take up all the frequencies.
Yep.
Right.
Can't get drowned out then.
Yeah.
Exactly.
What do you think about that?
What do you think about that?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I mean
Not
that's
that good.
and yeah, not too good.
Not
Too
too
good.
But yeah, that goes to like he has to have an intense understanding of what frequencies sound like what,
Yeah.
how they sit together.
Yeah.
Like, I would love to watch his EQing. Like
Oh
it
my
has to
God.
look like puzzle pieces.
Yeah.
Like, just
Yeah.
like this has to sit here, this has to sit here.
Crazy.
Because there's so much shit going on in this
Yeah.
song, and you can identify every single
Mhm.
thing.
Yeah.
Just listen real quick.
I love that
Just-
fucking just.
What the fuck?
Sounds
Oh,
like a
man.
Tyrannosaurus Rex
Yeah.
in
Yeah,
Jurassic Park.
Tyrannosaurus Rex, or like that scene in 300 where the elephants get pushed off the cliff.
Yeah, he's playing the death rattle of a mammoth.
It sounds like that. Yeah, I mean the one thing I don't love about the song is the
Don't say this riff. 'cause
no,
this
the riff
is
I was
is
gonna
great.
say.
The riff is awesome.
That did it for me a lot.
It's just the chorus. It's just the beautiful lyre.
Yeah.
Some of the lyrics are just they don't really connect.
He can't be perfect.
No, he can't be perfect, but like it's his lyrics sometimes just get a little bit too like
Cheese?
okay, yeah, it's
Yeah.
cheesy, yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
But it was 94. So.
It was 94, and like, yeah, he does feel like at times with the lyrics, it's like central casting
yeah.
of the kid at the lunch table that sits alone and like writes broodingly
Yeah,
in a
yeah.
notebook.
Yeah.
you know.
Beautiful liar, you know.
But that has to be why it connected with so many people.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah,
of course.
You know that's why. Like he was like he wrote what I wrote. He wrote the same.
Exactly. I wrote I want to fuck you like an animal.
Yeah.
I work at a fucking gas station. Where are my Oscars? What the fuck?
I'm a genius too. Look.
Here's my composition.
Yeah, it's just the Van
I
Halen
call-
logo, and then under it, I
Underneath,
want to fuck you like an animal.
animal.
Look, what the fuck?
I did this last week.
Two can play at this game,
Yeah.
Trent.
I called my girlfriend, left her a voicemail.
She
Telling her
blocked
I wanted
me.
to fuck her like an animal. It sounds just like that
Yeah.
song.
Meanwhile, I got the cops at my house. Ain't playing me on no X.
Yeah, but fucking awesome song though. I
Yeah.
mean,
One
so
of the,
awesome.
One of the best
Yeah.
on the record.
Oh my god.
One more. I love that. Let's move on. Second to last song,
The
yeah,
titular track.
the titular track, which is more of just like a noise ambient song. There's
A
really
vibe.
nothing here. It's
Yeah, there's like this beginning reminds me of like flies swarming over
Yeah.
meat.
yeah,
And then yeah, it's like noise, and I feel like is it like halfway through the hurt melody starts coming up?
I think so. Yeah, I mean, this song is more of just. It always just felt like more of an intro to Hurt, like a way
Yeah.
to get into Hurt,
Like a
than
prelude?
prelude.
Prelude?
Yeah, prelude to hurt.
Prelude to hurt.
Yeah,
Oh yeah,
a
PTH.
praline to Hurt.
pralines
And dick. Yeah. Yeah, I want to fast forward a little bit because it's mostly this. Starts getting, you start hearing like maybe an idea that was
Yeah,
that was,
what was
turned
this?
away. Yeah, something was cool
Something
here.
sick.
Yeah, and then it kind of
Yeah, and I think people like go nuts over like when it's the thing that I read about it being like a story. They're like, this is him dying.
Oh,
and
is
then
that
like
right?
hurt is like
Okay.
the afterword.
okay.
Uh-huh.
So if you
Okay.
buy into that, maybe that's what it
Maybe.
is.
I didn't. Yeah,
But
I
like,
wouldn't have read it that way, but I just think of it as a sick record, and that's it.
Me too. dude.
I
Cool,
just
dude.
don't.
I don't need
I'm not
stories,
smart enough.
and that's
for
what
a
you
story.
come to IQMB for, is that type of analysis.
I mean,
I don't buy into the story, but I think it's sick.
I mean, for a guy that like
I'm
I
just kidding.
used to love concept records, and now I'm just like, I don't. Fuck.
Fuck
Yeah, I
that.
know. I just can't give it the energy.
Right.
Does it have any tunes?
Yeah, does it got
That's
the
all I
tune?
give
Yeah,
a
where's
shit
the
about.
ass?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I
exactly.
want to see that.
So we're about a minute into Hurt.
Oh, are we? Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Should we go back?
Yeah, might as well.
Yeah, let's go back.
The Johnny Cash.
Well, I think that's the discussion that we should kind of have. Which is the better hurt?
Which came first, the chicken or the egg?
Well, I mean,
This came
This
first.
one came first.
Yeah.
but in terms of popularity, I mean, I don't think any like Johnny Cash people fucking think he wrote that, and
Which
they're
is
like,
crazy.
This is an amazing song. But for me, it's always going to be the original. Always going to be the original. I mean, just that.
That sound.
Yeah. Like that sour note that gets played there is just so. That's more interesting than the entire Johnny Cash version, I think. Like, Johnny Cash version is great. It's depressing, slow. He performs it well. You know, his vocals are very, like, deep and tragic. But just, it's a good song to listen to. But just listening to that, like, whatever is going on in the background there. And then that just sour note and how it's still as, like, brooding and sad, even with that, like, ugh.
And this.
Yeah.
Just
yeah, all
that,
the
like,
sounds
repetitive.
are just so interesting. I mean, it's kind of comparing apples to oranges, I think.
It
No, I would.
is.
Yeah.
I would agree. I mean, I love the Johnny Cash version, and him when he recorded it at that time in his life.
Yes.
It adds so much emotional weight to
Yeah.
it because it sounds like a man who's just like, I
Broken.
fucked up so much my whole life. You know what I mean?
So, I'm picturing Johnny Cash just saying that.
I fucked up
I
so
fucked up
fucking
so
much.
much.
If you had any idea what has gotten me here.
Yeah, and I both performances are incredibly earnest.
Yeah.
You can't
Yeah.
say that one isn't. But I think purely because Trent wrote the song
Just
Yeah.
the way those drums come in.
and
Yeah.
that he is, vocally speaking, probably less of a trained voice.
Yeah.
Maybe adds kind of a more sadness and desperation to this version for me.
Yeah, I
You know
mean,
what
this
I'm
song.
saying? Like Johnny Cash is a one of the most famous country voices of all time.
Yeah.
Ring of Fire, and now he's
Yeah.
talking about he's bummed. Great, but this guy was. Trent is even more down and out.
Yeah.
You know, you can just hear it the way he's saying.
He was
shit.
on ground zero. Dude.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he didn't have to get old. He was like 27
Yeah.
when he made this record.
Yeah.
He's
Like,
like,
I
I am fucked
think
up
you
so
fucked up."
much in my life, and I'm a third of your age.
Yeah.
But it is comparing apples to oranges.
Yeah.
I really don't know.
No, yeah, I would agree. And I love this. Like we always, one of the things that we talk about in every album review is like this closer isn't exact.
Yeah.
This is what I think of like as an album closer,
Yeah.
like something
It's
that kind of
perfect.
sets itself apart. Like
Yeah.
there's so mumuch stuff on this that's so densely layered.
Yeah.
and this is so intentionally sparse.
Yes.
And it like works perfectly. So like when that chorus starts hitting in that like consistent sting,
Yeah.
it just feels like it feels symphonic, but it's not.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like I feel like the Johnny Cash version, if we're still talking about this, I don't know if we are, but the Johnny Cash version it's like you hear it once and you're kind of like, wow, and then you hear it again and you're like, yeah, Johnny Cash.
Yeah.
And then this one,
Damn.
I feel like I will always like get chills no matter how many times I hear this version. I'm just like just the way he doesn't like end his lines in the melody like on a proper note. Like he's like quivering.
That's kind of what I'm saying.
yeah, like he's just not,
It's grosser.
it's so much more emotional because it feels like he just doesn't really care about like he's more about like trying to convey the feelings rather than like make a song.
I
But
think Johnny Cash conveyed the feelings too.
yes,
Definitely,
Yeah.
definitely.
But I think this serves what the song was intentionally written for.
yeah,
yeah, and as cool as it is to hear it on like an acoustic guitar,
here we go.
and that's like a really well produced. Yeah, hell yeah. This is the real reason why this is the better version.
Yeah, you can do that.
yeah,
No, and just those sounds.
Yeah,
I don't
this-
know if I've ever heard any of those sounds before I heard the song "Hurt."
Me either.
It's
Yeah.
just this collection of things I've never heard before
Yes.
that
Yeah.
make this incredibly beautiful song.
And then it
I s-
ends with feedback.
yeah. And I still don't know if I've heard guitars sound that harsh. Every time, like, this is such a great reference point for Nine Inch Nails. It's just like the guitars are always just sharp and going above the fucking, the frequency. And every time you listen to her, you're like, here it comes. I better fucking turn it down a little bit because it's gonna blast me.
Well, I think it benefits from what it's surrounded by too.
Yes,
It just comes
like-
out of nowhere. Because there's probably albums like I would guarantee you there's probably just like texture-wise some equally as brutal recorded guitars on the Better Lovers thing that we reviewed
Yeah.
last week, but it's surrounded by full spectrum sounding chuggy bass and huge
Yeah.
drums. But like the where he sticks shit in there is like he's taken like none of these songs are like sausages all the way through with their waveforms. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You really are hungry tonight.
didn't
Saucing it up. Sausages.
I didn't even do that one on purpose.
Hell yeah,
It's a
dude.
burger.
I'm a,
There's a burger. He
somebody
ordered
feed
fries.
this man.
Yeah.
No, but even to like what you're saying, I believe you are right. But there is like part of it, like when you watch a horror movie and you know there's like a jump scare,
Yeah.
and you're
Yeah,
like,
you
I know
have
it's
to-
coming, I know it's coming,
yeah.
and sometimes it'll still even worse. 'cause
It's-
you're
yeah.
like, God damn, that was so
Yeah.
Even
well
if you've
done.
seen the movie a bunch of times, you heard this song a billion times, you're just like, here it
Yeah,
comes.
oh, no.
Oh fuck.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
I would go as far as to say, and maybe this is a hot take, I'm not sure. I think this is like one of the best songs ever written, maybe.
Wow.
Like, I truly think it's in a contender. Like, top, I don't know,
20?
Maybe 20?
I think
Top
that's
15.
reasonable.
20 songs of all time, that might be unreasonable. I
don't know.
I'd have to give it more thought. I think the fact that you can strip it down to its base elements and it still works, I think
Yeah.
that bodes well for it. Like that you can take a song like that
Yeah.
that sounds nothing like an acoustic guitar
Yeah.
and it still stands on its own.
Yeah.
I think top hunch easy.
Maybe top 100. Maybe if it wasn't on a list, maybe we're just talking purely like emotional, constructed. It's kind of perfect in just a way.
Stairway,
I
dude.
think it's a 10 out of 10.
Yeah, dude, Stairway number one.
Stairway's number one.
Let's not get it
Number
twisted.
one,
Hey, quit
Smoke
fucking
on the
around.
Water.
Yeah, number two.
Number two,
All the best songs of all
Number
time I
three.
learned when I was 16 on
Black
guitar.
Dog.
Iron Man. Number 3.
Paranoid.
Back in
Hurts.
Black.
Yeah.
Yeah. Then way at 100 just hurt.
Once
Johnny
we get through
Cash.
the Black Sabbath Led Zeppelin catalog at a lowly 100.
Full in the Rain.
It's 9 Inch Nails. It's-
Carasalumbra.
Yeah. Thunderstruck.
yeah.
Hot Dog.
Sweet Caroline. Should we move into the closing argument?
CA's, brother.
Yeah.
Who's going first?
I'll start it off because my voice is going.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, just no matter which way you look at it, this is a pretty incredible record.
Yeah.
Like, if you look at it as a leap forward creatively in someone's career, it's like massive. It really feels like this guy who had these interesting ideas of how to blend rock and like synth rock and that kind of stuff. In his early works like Pretty Hate Machine, it's like, oh, this is an interesting concept. He might have to go back to the drawing board. And then Downward Spiral is him like finding his voice immediately and doing something that nobody else could do. Another thing that I really appreciate about it, the more I listen to it, is like it's very hard today for a lot of different reasons to create anything that sounds new. You can create stuff that sounds a lot like other stuff or take interesting elements from other stuff, but you don't hear a lot of music that comes out today that if you took it back to 1994 and dropped it, that people wouldn't be like, you wouldn't blow anybody's hair back.
Yeah.
Right.
If you took the Downward Spiral and took it, and that's crazy that you can go 30 years in the past and not blow anybody's hair back. If you took the Downward Spiral and dropped it off in 1964, people would lose their mind. They'd never heard anything like it.
Yeah.
And it did that in 1994. People had never heard anything like it. So, just a massive amounts of respect for like the creative breakthrough that it was, and the fact that he has like this appetite for experiment and finding all this weird stuff, but he's still a great like pop artist.
Yeah.
He knows where to find hooks, and they can be from like his voice or a synth that it sounds like he fucking threw in a bathtub. He just knows ways to keep you interested and keep you listening. It's a little long. I didn't remember quite how long it was.
Yeah.
On past
It's an hour and 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think it justifies most of that length. There's a couple songs that I'm like, maybe here, maybe there, but overall, I mean, completely earns the classic status that it has, and it's one that, like, the older I get, the more I get into music production, the more I appreciate more and more. So I'm gonna go with a 9.0.
Being the 9 Inch Nails noob of the group, I can say pretty confidently that my hunger was satiated by this album. To play into the hungry piece.
The callback.
I forgot about it.
Boom. No, it was really good. I really enjoyed this. Where it loses me is like things that both of you guys have said before, and like the lyrics are a bit cheese. This might be one of the angriest and horniest records I've ever listened to in my life.
Maybe ever.
Yeah. It's so horny.
Yeah.
Like, it's not just that one song where he wants to fuck you like an animal.
Yeah.
Like that comes up like a bunch of times, like coming on things and whatever. So that's a little odd. That makes me sound like a prude. I could do without that, but give me a little bit of like, something like a.
You want more violence, less sex.
Yeah.
Sex. Yeah.
Or like a metaphor or something.
Yeah, no,
it's
less
kind of
fluids.
kind of on the nose.
More
but,
fries.
But what I find really impressive, besides the like millions of different sounds going on in it, is that like it's a vibe the whole time. It's like a montage or like a movie score the whole time, but the vibe gets shifted so dramatically up and down while still maintaining its status as like a consistent thing. Because to me, when I listen to it, there isn't really much of like a this ends, this begins. It's just like a flowing thing, and it vibes from like, oh my god, this is like a car wreck, to I'm just chilling.
Yeah.
I'm just chilling, but it's ominous at the same time. And I found it really interesting to listen to. And like I said multiple times, I think it was beneficial for me to listen to and understand like where some of my favorite artists now are really getting their shit from. Because, you know, it's all, you can tell, it's obvious. Like, this is like audio porn for like nerds' sake, because shit's recorded well. There's cool samples, whatever. There's probably Easter eggs all over the place. Anyways, it is a little long. The lyrics are a little cheese, so I'm just gonna land on a solid 8.5.
8.5
with this one.
All right. Yeah. For me, like, since getting into Nine Inch Nails, like, this is kind of, you know, I've heard the album before years ago, but since like really diving in like 2 or 3 years ago, this has become like one of my favorite records ever. I love noise. I love industrial. I love, you know, the 80s pop elements that are in here as well. And just the way he's able, like we've said it so many times, but just the way he's able to blend all of those worlds and then throw in things like jazz piano, like you know, and like acoustic guitars, just like out of nowhere. Like you'll be in like this tornado of chaos and noise, and it's all like somehow wrapped up in a dance groove, and then the next second you're like hearing a very like untreated sounding acoustic guitar that sounds like just dusty, and like you can hear like the depravity in this record, which is so interesting to me. Like how he brings you down with, like, by the end of this record, you're Trent Reznor.
You're circling the drain.
You're circling the drain. Yeah, it doesn't matter how good of a day you had. If you started off your day, and you listen to the record, you're gonna be thinking about some shit. You're just like this record still can, like, after all these years, like, it can still make you emotional. I feel like it could still make me emotional. It does a really good job of beginning and ending. Has a great amount of pop songs on it, as well as like just some slower, like weirder numbers, and it has some cool, just like straight up industrial songs too that really aren't concerned about being pop songs. Yeah, I think it's near perfect. I think the only, like, I kind of like the length of it. I mean, I think like the song Eraser, like it kind of just it's long, but for how much is there, like it still is exciting all the way through and exhilarating. The only thing I just don't really love about it is the lyrics, because of how horny they are.
It's so horny.
They're very horny.
Yeah. And depressed. Horny and depressed.
And depressed. But it does fall into the level of cheese a little bit.
A little bit, but what I will say is we listen to a lot of guys who are twisted.
Yes.
Yeah.
Trent Reznor comes the closest to actually selling how
Yeah,
twisted he
you're
is.
Yes,
right.
it does.
You're right.
Yeah, I get, it's cheesy, but not in like,
Like a ugh.
we're all fucked kind of way.
Yeah,
no.
It's like, I'm the fucked one,
Yeah.
and I need to somehow get back into society,
I'm
into
venting,
the good graces of
I'm
society.
venting my fucked to
I'm-
you.
Right, yeah.
And you're just taking it in. You don't have to be fucked with me.
Right. We've heard way worse versions
Oh, yeah.
of, being cheesy and being an edgelord. So, and he's kind of like the king of edgelordism. So you kind of have to
Yes.
give him that as well.
Yes.
I think it is like nearly perfect. I would say it's one of my favorite like structured albums, and just the sounds on it are just so wild, so noisy, but still like so upbeat. The fact that you could get this shit on the radio back in the day,
Crazy.
and it's still on the radio.
What a
like,
better time.
You
that
could
must
still
have
put
been.
on the X and hear Closer.
Yeah.
And it'll still be like, oh yeah.
Yeah, dude.
I'm gonna give it a pretty high score. I'm gonna give it a 9.3.
Hell yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Probably lands us in the middle.
I think it's like an 8.
8.9.
What's
like
that? A horny hell yeah?
a depressing and horny hell
depressing
yeah.
yeah. Oh, depressing and horny hell yeah.
Yeah, that works.
Both of them. What did you guys think of the record? If you've heard this record before, go and listen to it, and then go in the comments and tell us if you agree, if it's one of your favorite records of all time, if you hate it and you've always hated Nine Inch Nails. Comment and let us know. We'll fight it out. I'll send some shitty comments from my couch.
He
You'll
responds
piss
like
off.
this.
Yeah, fuck you.
He responds to all of them.
I do respond to all of them. I'll
So-
just if it's a smiley face or just one of these, I'll give you something.
And
yeah,
those
so-
are free.
Those are free. Subscribe to the channel on YouTube if you haven't yet. Follow us on Instagram and TikTok where we post clips. And go to our Patreon page and subscribe on Patreon for $5, and you can see our exclusive content, which is us going through newer tracks by various artists that have been released like that month, or maybe even that day. And we talk about them, and we make fun of them, or we just jam out to them. We just do, we're just talking.
Yeah.
It's the show.
Yeah.
That's it.
Go.
It's just more of this.
It's more of this.
More of this.
All right. That was
Sorry.
enough.
Sorry.
That was enough.
We have our newest one on there. It's called Still Bringing It.
Still bringing it.
Yeah, go check out Still Bringing It on Patreon. We promise you're gonna love it, folks.
Or your money back
Or
guarantee.
I don't know about
Actually,
that.
no.
Actually, no.
It gets 5 booms.
Yeah, it gets 5 big booms from us. Nine Inch Nails, Downward Spiral. It's an 8.9. Depressing and horny, hell yeah. That's pretty high on our scale. So,
Despite what it says.
despite what it said. But thanks everyone for watching. It's I Quit My Band. We'll see you next time. Goodbye.